It always comes to this. More nice shit. Hello there guys, here to do another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I had showed off the center of the chest. We had done some black around the bottom of the tattoo, and we laid out some black and did a little bit of color. Didn't quite match up side to side. Rick wasn't happy with how the color was going in. He didn't have the right needles, yada yada yada. He still didn't have the right needles this week, but we had to endure anyway. We got shit to do. So with that said, I'll just get into what we did. We laid out a bit more of the black so that he would have a little more vision of the brain part of this chest. So let me just change this around a bit so I'm not just talking at my chest. We also did a whole bunch of color down here, like a lot more color, and I'll put in the video as always all the different colors that were used. Some of the black in the monster, obviously, to give some more dimension. Now you can see the mouth and the teeth. We did some of the white. He didn't touch up this color yet just because it's still healing. It's a little shiny in places. Just having the outline around that color though, even though the color isn't as vibrant as this side, it does pull it out. So obviously I had showed off the red on my neck. Still doing pretty good. I don't know if it's faded or not. It's really hard for me to say until after I watch these back. When I'm recording, this is all done with a front-facing camera, and I've enlisted the help of a ring light recently. So this is all pretty low-tech what I'm doing here, and everything looks darker in my reflection on the camera than it does when I watch the video back. So for me, when I'm editing these, it's always like, oh, that looks better than I thought it did. But with that said, I'm happy with how everything's doing. All the color seems to be holding in really, really well. I had the good precedent for that with all this stuff that we've done already. But obviously, though I love my armpit tattoos, they're great. They get to hide a lot of the time. A lot of what we did was like, you know, it was almost like sneaking it in there. Because like, who cares if it doesn't work real well in your armpit right away, right? It's like not super, super important if your armpit looks great. Because when are you ever showing off your armpit? You know what I mean? Unless you're raising it up. Unless you're specifically taking pictures with your arm up like this. The world ain't going to see your armpit very often. It's the same reason why we started out on the stomach and ribs and stuff. I can cover all that with a shirt when I'm like practicing new methods or trying different inks, and it's almost as if nothing has happened. You know, you've got your black arms still, which for some is a cool thing, and some people hate them. Some people fucking hate these things and can't wait till I have tattoos over them. The fortunate part for those folks is that I'll probably be getting to those right away. And with what I've done already, there's no precedent to doubt the capacity of what we can do. There's no real what if it doesn't work anymore. It's just about doing the work. It's like there's no option of failure for us anymore in this. Unless it's death, unless one of us dies. If I die, the project ends. That's basically it. If I don't die or become terribly ill, which most people expected by this point. I was supposed to have ink poisoning a long time ago. Don't know if you guys are aware, but apparently I was supposed to be dead by now. My liver should have given out. When in reality, I've probably never been in better health. Obviously, I'm in the best shape of my life. I think I feel youngest I've ever felt. That could be some effect of not working 12-hour days, 6 days a week. I actually have a weekend now, and I'm making more money than I used to, too. It's it's one of those things that I've realized in life is the more you're willing to embrace what you love and really go at it, it seems like the more life gives you to get you there too. For example, people are still always asking me how I can afford to get tattooed 2 times a week still, or at all. And it's like, I do pay for my work, but I don't pay what I used to. And that being said, what I make off of my hobby is paying for my hobby now. Oddly enough, I've come into a place with my social media presence where it's not making me rich, but it more than pays for my passion project, which is funny because my Instagram, my TikTok, all of that, my YouTube, it all started off just me talking about getting tattooed and showing off my tattoo progression and stuff. And so it's kind of funny that my passion project ends up kind of paying for itself and then some now. To some degree, it's become a career, which is a bizarre thing in its own right. But I would never be the person who would not work, even if I was pretty wealthy without working. I would probably still keep a job 5 days a week. I think I'd get bored if I didn't have anything going on. But anyway, I don't mean to rant about that too much. Just wanted to kind of cover that topic a little bit because I still get so many people asking. For anyone who is curious, I made a whole video about this back in 2021. It still holds up, but it could use some revision because there's been some changes to my life since. Anyway, I've had now 8 sessions on my chest. They've been great. I've enjoyed every one of them. I really, really enjoy working on the chest piece. It's a lot tamer than what I was doing for the last 2 years, basically, in doing my ribs and stomach and even the armpits. I don't mind doing armpit tattoos. Like they're pretty chill compared to ribs and stomachs and stuff like that for me. But that's all worse than the chest. I've been really enjoying this. I enjoy the fact that we're doing something this elaborate on a place that isn't that painful for me. That being said, I understand that for some people, the chest might be a particularly sensitive area, and I'm not shaming anyone out there for that. Well, all I mean to imply is that for me, this is a great place to be doing this. It's going to be the same thing when we're working on my sleeves. I don't really care if that takes us 45 sessions because, sleeves are pretty painless, especially for me. I see a lot of people getting their sleeves tattooed at the shop here. It's usually what people get is tattoos on their arms for the most part. So when I finally get to work on my sleeves again, I've been watching people do their sleeves now for the last year, almost every day at the shop, and kind of jealous and thinking, man, I can't wait till I'm working on mine. Because that's the best way to do tattoos. If you just like getting tattooed and you're not really necessarily in it for the pain, I mean, I don't mind the pain, don't get me wrong. But tattoo for me is, it's all about the experience of it. There's the pain part, but there's also the healing, and there's the being sore, and there's the adrenaline, and there's that great feeling after the session, and there's the progress you get, and you see yourself making changes that you're happy with, and it has all kinds of great effects. Actually, my older brother just started getting into tattoos this year. He's never had one, but he's working on a sleeve now, and he wishes he had got started a long time ago, and I was telling him for years. It's a little bit like fitness. When you see your body changing in a positive way, it's like my effort is doing that. My time and my patience, my discipline is getting me there. Because I've had that same thing. I've always been a pretty fit person. Other than when I was really overweight when I was young, ever since then I've stayed really fit and really on it. It's just I never ate enough to grow muscle. And that's been the big challenge for me, but I don't want to get too much into that. The point is, there's a lot of correlating factors there. If you like making changes, and that's why I've been saying a lot lately that I think any kind of bodybuilding is very heavily tied into body mod, because it certainly has hit the same nerve for me. So, as I said, not a super painful session. We did about 3 hours this time. For the people who sometimes think we're not sitting for very long, for whatever reason, Rick had a pep in his step. He was ready to go. I think he really enjoys doing this. He's never had a chance to do a big color on black project before, so I think that he's really enjoying learning what colors work better. We used all kinds of different shades of red this time. I think that's probably the reddest red we've had. This has more of like a kind of pinky purple base to it, where this has kind of like, I would say it's a pretty dead on red, but this is more of like an orangey red, but even still, what we're experimenting with is what colors will work and then the best inks to get those colors, because Rick isn't just using the colors on their own, he's mixing them all. So I think this red that he used this time was 2 different reds mixed together. I think it was Mega Flower Red mixed with what is the other one we've been using this whole time? I can't remember right now, but I'll put it in here. I'm sure I'll figure it out when I'm editing this. It's still early in the morning here, so I'm sure I'll remember. Anyway, it's 2 different reds mixed with a yellow to break it up, and so it ends up being a pretty unique color. But that's why, you know, for all the problems that Rick can be to work with, and he doesn't have the quickest pace necessarily. Obviously, we're going to get there in the end. I don't care how many sessions it takes. But he has the 20 plus year experience, and he's been a color realism artist and specializes in color work primarily. So when you're doing color on black, you can't be in better hands than someone like that. Obviously, you could get a trad guy to pack some color in there, but I don't think it's going to be the same level of color blending. We're going for more of like a realistic / stylized realistic take on this whole thing. In terms of where I am in this project, percentage-wise, I would say the chess piece is probably about 1/3 done, which were about 8 sessions. I would think that we'll probably be working on this for another few months, at least, because I want background and all that. But right after we get done that, we're going to hit my left arm. So we're going to be building from the chest over to the left arm. I don't know how many sessions that's going to be. It's going to be a long time, I'm sure. But I'm here for it. I can't wait for it, in fact. I think it's going to be, for a lot of people, they only get their sleeves done. They don't get their full torso, so it won't be a full color tattoo suit until I have sleeves. And for a lot of people, it will only be a blackout tattoo until that point. So I think that's going to be a big change for the way the public perceives this project. Now, that being said, I have a couple tattoo plans coming up with Terry as well. Obviously, I've mentioned blacking out my back, straightening out my fingers. My palms have both healed now, so that's fully peeled finally. I almost forgot to show that off. So that guy's pretty well good to go now, just as I said it would be. I want to do some more stuff with my hand tattoos. I'm going to keep that one a secret till I get there. And obviously I mentioned I want to do the white highlights in my neck again, the 3rd pass on the high points, and touch up the red a little bit in places. I also want to point this tiara a little more and redo it because it's a little bit blurry in comparison to everything else we've been doing. So yeah, just some things I've got coming up over the next few weeks. I'm always working on all kinds of stuff, so don't expect that to end anytime soon. Anyway, I'll show this off one more time up close. So the chess piece is coming together. For anyone out there who doubted me, I'm hoping that by now you can see what I'm working on and get the picture. I have the picture. I've had the picture all along. It's a bitch getting there. It takes a while. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.